Yeah, yeah. Apart from share screen, I don't need to worry about any other features at the moment, right? Yeah. Do you want to?
Go into
This
the
one?
Chrome and then close Chrome.
Close this?
Yep.
The whole thing? Or?
Yep. It's already streaming live. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. So yeah, just
And, the
not connected up at the moment. Do you want me to connect it up? Like use the whiteboard? Maybe we can try it in
in the second stream, yeah.
Yeah, I think focus on
Yes. Hello everyone, my name is Krunal. I'm one of the expert educators at Creator Academy Australia. So, how are you all today? Um, let's see how many participants we have. So, this is online tutorial for Scratch, and I'm delivering this tutorial from Sydney. And today we will be learning more about Scratch. So, with the Scratch software, we can make lots and lots of things. We can make animations, we can make video games, we can make paintings, we can do so many things. Now, let's get started. So, firstly, I would like you to open up software which looks something like this. So, here, that's the main screen of your Scratch software. Now, if you look at the software, when you go on this side of the software, which is saying Sprite 1. Now, I would like to ask our participants, and they feel free to comment below and also answer my questions if you have time. And if you are at your home in your comfort zone, feel free to use a note and pen, and yeah, feel free to write down few notes or few instructions if you want. Now, with this area, when we say sprite 1, what does it actually mean? So sprite in Scratch means a character. So in general, a character means it could be your cartoon character, it could be any kind of character. So in Scratch, if we want to make any animations, what we do is we use different characters, program them to move around, and depending on what functions they need to do, it will create a game or a video or so many cool stuffs. Now, you can see this particular sprite is showing you the picture of a cat. So what I will do is I'll just show you a quick demo how to make this sprite move. So when we say a sprite which has to move, it means it not only requires coding, but it also have different costumes. So when you click in coding area, there are so many blocks over here. Number two is costumes, where for one particular sprites, you can see different costumes, which is costume one, costume two. And if that particular sprite is having costume 3, it will be listed over here. Okay. Now, what this means is this is costume 1, this is costume 2. Now, if I click them one by one at a high speed, it gives you a sort of illusion that there is an animation. So you can see the sprite 1, the cat which you have selected, it starts moving. But what is happening is it is trying to move using this animation and the effect, but is staying at the same spot. However, we can make a code so it starts moving and we don't need to click them again and again. Now, this was just the basic principle I was explaining you how to move a sprite around. Okay. Now, the third block, the third section over here on top, it's sound. So if you want your character or a sprite to make a sound, what do? You add more and more sounds over here. That way, that way you can make allow your character to make different sounds. For example, this sound is making meow. Can you hear that all? Yeah, okay. Now let's go back to the main screen, which is your coding area. So today we will be making a game. Okay. So this game is basically what I have designed is to have a mouse trying to eat muffin, and there is a cat. The cat is just sitting in a room relaxing, but the catch is that if the mouse, while trying to eat the muffin, enters in the area where the cat is sleeping, what happens? The cat starts chasing the mouse. Okay. So how does that sound in terms of the coding and learning? How does that sound? Good. Okay. I can see many participants saying um, different ideas over here. Okay. So we got lots of participants joining me live. Now, let's get started with this software and a gaming. So to begin with, I'm going to delete the sprite. So I have a complete blank screen. Okay. Then there are two different things. So one is a mouse and another one is a cat. So I need two different sprites to begin with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to select two different sprites. So to select two different sprites, I have to click this area where it says choose a sprite. Okay. So when we click here, we have so many different characters, so many different sprites, right? Now we just go into animals because the sprites which we are choosing today, or the characters which we are choosing today, they are mouse and a cat. Yeah. So they both are animals. So we go into the category which is called animals. Over here, I can see a cat which is having a top view. So let's pick up this cat as your first character. All right. If you are joining me live, you can try this at your home in your computer using the Scratch software. So while I'm making this game, you can also follow my instructions and do it in your computer at the same time. Yep. Now, what I need to do is I need to find a particular location on this screen where I can place my cat. Okay. To do that, I can choose any random location, or I can choose my cat to be at a particular spot. So what I have decided, I will put my cat over here and mouse on the top right corner. So they both are exactly opposite to each other. Okay. And then what I will do is, okay, so before going any forward, let me show you something else over here. So if I choose my cat to stay on this spot, what happens over here? I want you to pay attention on this area. You see X and Y? They are the coordinates of this particular screen. So if I pick up my cat, put it over here, I have a new coordinate. If I pick up my cat and place it somewhere over here, in the bottom right corner, I have a completely different coordinates. Can you see that? Yeah, very good. Now, I will place my cat on this side of the screen. So my coordinates are minus 141, which is X, and minus 138, which is for Y. Okay. Now, I will explain you about these coordinates in a while. Okay, bear with me. For now, I will go ahead and choose the next character, which is your mouse. So to choose a mouse, I'm again going to go into this animal section, scroll down a bit, and there you go. I found my mouse. So now I have a mouse, I have a cat, and then, as I said, I will place this mouse exactly opposite to the cat. So that will be the top right corner. Now, what I want my mouse to do is change the direction, which is over here. So to change the direction, I have to set a particular degree. So it looks like my mouse is facing towards the cat. Okay. Same way, I can decrease the amount of angle of cat. So they both are exactly opposite. Okay. Now, so we have finalized two of our characters, two of our sprites. One is your cat, one is a mouse. They both are facing exactly opposite on this big screen. Okay. And another thing we talked about is this coordinates. So the coordinates of cat is minus 152 and minus 120. However, coordinates for mouse, they are 180, which is in positive, and 133, which is also a positive number. Okay. Now, what are we missing? We're missing a muffin. So let's go into choose a sprite, and then muffin is a character. It, so the muffin is a is located inside a food category. So what we do is click the food button, and then that is your muffin. You can choose any different characters, whatever you like. But the reason I choose muffin is to make a game bit more funnier. Yeah. Now I'm going to place my muffin somewhere around here. What it helps me to do is it allows mouse to walk through the muffin, as well as if the mouse passes over the muffin and lands on this side of the screen, what happens is it it is entering within the range of the cat. That way, I can program my cat to only trigger if the mouse is on this side of the muffin, which is within the range of the cat. Yeah, I will place it exactly in the center, or you can choose anywhere you like. You can choose a random spot. It's totally up to you. Now, you can see the coordinate for muffin is x is equal to 51, y is equal to -3. So the reason why I am again and again pointing towards x and y is because when we have programmed the entire game, what happens is if you again start the same game from the same spot, they won't go to the starting point. So the reason why I want you to note down the coordinates is to keep a record of these coordinates, as this will be your starting coordinates or the starting spot of your, or I can say a starting location of my character. Okay. So the starting location of cat is x is equal to -152, y is equal to -120. Yes. And then starting coordinates or a spot or a location for mouse is 180, which is x, and y is equal to 133. Same way for muffin, it is x is equal to 51 and y is equal to -3. I hope you have noted down those coordinates, or if you are programming with me at the same time, I just want you to uh, just make a note somewhere or just keep it in your mind that we need to use the coordinates again when we go into main programming. Okay, now we have three sprites, three characters which are ready to roll the game. Now, to design the entire game, let's find out the function and the programs. Okay. So the very first thing I would like to do is I would like to program them individually. So when the game starts, they all are working at the same time in parallel. To do that, I have to program them one by one, and then I need to press this flag. So this flag means go. But when I click go, nothing happens right now because I haven't programmed any of the characters. What I can do is, let's start with mouse first, and then slowly we will go into another character, which is cat, or we can go into muffin. So to program the mouse, we need to identify what mouse has to do. So for example, if one of my student is saying mouse has to just walk or maybe just run for half an hour. So I just make that as an objective of the mouse. That way I can start working on the program. So to start coding any character, the very first thing we have to do is set up an objective of that particular sprite or a character. So objective of this mouse over here is to go towards wherever I want to take that mouse. So if I want my mouse to move over here, what I have to do is I have to select the keyboard mouse, which is your mouse pointer, which is this white mouse pointer, which is moving with with my fingers. Yeah. So I want my mouse to follow this white pointer. Okay. So how do I program this? So very first thing is I need to choose an event. What do we mean by event? So event in Scratch means it actually starts your program, or it starts a particular set of program when means it is a starting point of your program, or a set of different programs in this Scratch software. So over here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start all three sprites at the same time. So what should be my events? There are so many events. For example, if this sprite clicked, what does this mean? So if I click this sprite, which is I'm currently talking about mouse, if I click the mouse, then whatever I have programmed below this event will start running. Okay. Same way, if I want my cat to start with some sort of event, I need to choose a different event from this area. So one by one, we'll start programming all the characters. So let's go back to the mouse. Somebody tell me which events should I choose? Yeah, let me quickly go into question and answers. Let me see if anybody is raising their hand, if somebody knows the answer. Oops. Okay, I got lots and lots of answers over here. Now, yes, that is correct. So I need to choose when the green flag is clicked. So this green flag means this button. So if I click this green flag, what happens is my program starts running. In other term, my mouse starts walking or starts doing whatever we programmed it for. Same way, I have to program each and every other characters, which is muffin, which is cat, and that way, in all those characters, when I start programming, I have to use the same event because I want them to run in parallel. So if I click the flag, all these characters will start running their own program. Okay, the way we wanted them to move, or the way we wanted them to behave. Let's go back to the mouse. Flag clicked. What do we need to do next? As I said, they always have to start from this particular coordinates. So x is equal to 180 and y is equal to y is equal to positive 133. So x and y, they both are positive 180, 133. So I go into motion, and then you see the block over here. I want everyone to pick up this block and connect it under the event block. So when this green flag is clicked, go to X 180, Y 133. So each and every time I click the flag, the mouse will always start from this position. All right? Very good. Now, what comes next after this block? Now, my objective for this mouse is to start walking in the direction where I move this mouse pointer. So what I will do is I will choose motion again and point towards mouse pointer. You see this block? So this block means you ask your character or a sprite to move towards a mouse pointer. Okay, so the mouse pointer means your mouse cursor. Okay, I'll just connect it underneath, and then let's just do a quick trial with this program. See how your mouse behaves right now. So when I click the flag, the mouse pointer is going to be over here. So I want you all to observe this. So when I click this flag, this program will ask my mouse to start from this area, and then it will point towards the mouse pointer. There you go. See that? So each and every time I have to ask my ask this mouse to point towards my mouse pointer, what I have to do is I have to click the flag because it is only doing it once. Now, to do this each and every time, what I have to do? I have to go into control, and either you can repeat it 10 times or I can do it forever. Forever means you repeating something forever. Yeah. So what I will do is I will pick up the loop, which is forever loop. And that way, each and every time I click the flag, what happens is I don't have to. What happens here is I I have avoided the necessity to go back to the flag and click it to run this program over and over again. So what happens is I just have to click the flag one time, and then there is a loop which is called forever loop, and that forever loop allows my program to run each and every time. Okay, so you can see the mouse is pointing towards the mouse pointer. Now let's stop this. Okay, so what is my next objective? So as we set up the objective that this mouse has to follow the mouse pointer, but it has to start walking, right? It has to start walking or running or chasing this mouse pointer. So what I will do is I will just start with the new block, which is move 10 steps. Okay, that is the very first block of your motion area. I can select this block. What I can do is, yeah, move 10 steps means each and every time I repeat this loop, what happens is when I click this, each and every time it tries to move towards the mouse pointer for 10 steps. The problem is that it won't be able to move because each and every time it is going back to the starting point. So what did we learn? We learned that we don't need this go to X and Y block inside the forever loop, which means that this particular block has to be only over here outside of the loop. So when it starts, each and every time it goes to the starting point, that's it. It doesn't have to be forever. It just need to happen once when we start the program. After that, whatever happens, that happens forever. Yeah. Now you can see now the mouse is actually following the mouse pointer. But the problem is it is going way too fast as if like it's running. So what I want is I want my mouse to take things slowly. Okay. So to take things slowly, what I can do is either I can decrease the number of steps or I can use some time delay in between this action. Okay. So this time delay is the wait block. So wait for 1 second or whatever time you want. So we can pick up this block, which is inside the control section, and then we can use it anywhere. So the whole forever loop have some time delay. So it waits for certain seconds before doing another block, before going to another block. So let's see how this wait block affects the speed. But first, let's see how decreasing the number of steps affects the speed of the mouse. Okay. So from 10 steps, what I have done here is I have decrease the number of steps to 5 steps. Okay. Further, if I want to decrease it more and more, I can go 1 step very, very slow. Yeah. Or if I want my mouse to go 10 steps, and still, if I want my mouse to decrease the speed, the other option is wait. Okay. That way, the mouse is still going 10 steps in one particular go of the loop. But what happens is it is waiting for 1 second in between each 10 steps. So at once it will go for 10 steps and then it will wait for 1 second before going another 10 steps. Okay. That way it gives us the feel of animation that mouse is going very slowly. Now, let me point out what we can do to make this mouse move like a real mouse. Okay. So I'm going to go into costume section. I want everybody to pay attention on this particular section where you have two different costumes. One is mouse A, second one is mouse B. So what is the difference between two costumes? As I explained to you earlier in the beginning of this tutorial, if we want to create animation, what do? We just keep repeating the change of costume. That way, in the eye of the viewer, it seems like, okay, there is an animation. The mouse is actually walking. So to do this, what we'll do is each and every time we repeat the forever loop, we will add a new costume. And to do that, we have to go into motion. Sorry, we have to go into looks because costume is part of your looks section. Okay. So over here, you can select this block, which is next costume. So next costume means that it will it will scroll through next costume. So it will scroll through different costumes, whichever you have lined up on this area. Okay. But for this mouse, we only have two costumes. Okay. 1 and 2. So each and every time the next costume block will be played within the forever loop, what will happen is it will create a sort of animation where a viewers can see, okay, the mouse is changing the costume, but it will look as if the mouse is actually walking. Let's find out. Okay, so I'm gonna play this program. It changes the costume from A to B each and every time the forever loop keeps repeating. Okay. Okay. Now, over here, the wait time is too long. I can observe that if I click, it's going very, very slowly. So what I can do is I can decrease the wait time. So instead of 1 second, I can change it to 0.5, half a second, and see what difference I have. Okay, there you go. So we have programmed this mouse to move around. And if you guys have done this program with me in parallel at, at your home, feel free to ask any questions in the comment section below. And yeah, if I will see any particular questions related to this program, I will be happy to answer. Okay, now let's move on to the next part of it. So what we have done is, so far what we have done is we have allowed this mouse to move around freely wherever we want the mouse to go. So we start from this part and take our mouse anywhere we want by using the mouse pointer. Okay. Now the objective for this mouse is to go towards muffin. At the same time, if it lands up on this area, the cat becomes activated. Okay. That means the cat is actually able to sense the mouse within the area of um, within the area where the cat is right now situated. Okay. So to to further make it funnier, what I have designed is if the mouse go towards the muffin and if it touches the muffin, it should say yummy because we know mouse always like muffin or cheese or whatever is sweet. Yeah, mouse likes those kind of food. So to do that, we have to keep adding different blocks over here. But now we will learn about the controls where I have this particular block, which is if block. Okay. Now, if block is a kind of loop, but the difference between forever loop and if loop is that forever loop goes forever regardless of anything. But when we talk about if loop, what happens is it will only be activated if something happens. As you can see, if something happens over here, then run this program. So whatever program you want to run over here, that will be only activated if something happens, which is defined over here. Okay. I know it's a bit confusing, but let me explain you by programming this. Okay. So far, after the next costume, what I have to do is I have to go into, I have to select this if loop and put it over here. Now, if what happens, then the mouse will say yummy. Okay. So if the mouse is touching the muffin, which means we go into we go into sensing, and in the sensing area you have so many blocks where you can choose different blocks depending on what what is your requirement. So far, what I need to do is I just need to allow my mouse to touch the muffin and I need to sense it. Okay. So if mouse is touching the muffin, which is touching, and over here I will select muffin. So easy. So if touching muffin, then what? Then we want our mouse to say yummy. So we again go back to the looks. In the looks, you can use this block, which is say hello for 2 seconds. But instead of hello, you can type your own message. So if you want your mouse to say yummy, you just type yummy and it will display the yummy message for 2 seconds. Okay. Now, 2 seconds, I think it's bit too much in this particular gaming. So I will decrease it to 1 second. But you guys can experiment with different number of seconds. So let's try and see if it works. So the program has started. The mouse is actually following the mouse pointer. Seems like the mouse is walking inside this screen wherever I want it to go. And then I take it towards the muffin and it says yummy. Yeah. So whenever it touches the muffin, it says yummy. Now, this is all about mouse. Okay. So so far we have just programmed mouse. I will give you some time, like 2 minutes to do this. If you are doing it with me, you can complete the program. If you have any questions, you can ask me, and after 2 minutes, we'll start programming the muffin. And I will tell you what the objective has to be. So feel free to send me any questions you have. If you have any doubts, you can raise your hand and ask me for any doubts you want to clear. Okay, take your time for 2 minutes. Time starts now. Any questions or any doubts? Feel free to look at this program. Okay, so now if you have completed this particular part, we can move on to the next part of the programming. So raise your hand if you have totally completed the mouse programming. Yeah, yep, that's good. Yep, we got plenty of hands raised up. Okay, so we're ready to move on to next part. So let's go into muffin. Let's start programming this muffin. Now, same way as we programmed mouse 1, we start with when green flag is clicked, which is our events. Same way for the muffin, we need the same events. As I said, we need to run all the three characters in parallel. But for muffin, what is the objective? So the objective, as per my thoughts, is to display a new picture. So I will go into costume, and as you can see, there are two costumes for this muffin. One is one is where you can see the full muffin, and another one is where you can see a muffin which has been eaten up. Yeah. So I can switch these costumes depending on whether the mouse has touched the muffin or not. Okay. So to do this, I will keep costume A for now and start programming the muffin. So in muffin, what happens is we go into control because we only change the costume of muffin if the mouse is actually touching the muffin. So what happens in mouse is if mouse is touching the muffin, then it will say yummy for 1 second. Same way for muffin, if the mouse, if the muffin is touching the mouse, it is actually opposite because now we are just programming the muffin. So if the muffin is touching the mouse, however, we know that muffin is not going to walk around because it is a food. But still, you can program it. So if muffin is touching mouse, what happens is it will be eaten up. Yeah. So let's try this. If then if muffin is touching mouse, so we again go into sensing. So if touching mouse, so if muffin is touching mouse, what happens is select the costume which is muffin B. So you select this block which is switch costume, but then we need to switch it to muffin B because muffin B is what gives you the hint of, okay, the muffin has been eaten up by mouse. So when flag is clicked, if touching mouse, that means if muffin is touching mouse, switch costume to muffin B. Let's find out if it works. Okay, let's first bring it back to the original costume, which is muffin A. Now let's go back. Let's find out. So as you can see, even if I touch this, the mouse will say yummy, but muffin won't do anything. The reason is that when I click the flag, this particular loop only ran once. Okay. So the loop was running only one particular time and then it stopped. So what do I need? I need forever. So it has to run forever and keep monitoring, which means if touching mouse, then switch the costume to make is your new costume. So let's try it again. Now you can see as this whole program is highlighted, it means it's running. Okay, so what happens is each and every time I start this program by clicking the flag, it needs to go back to the original costume, which is muffin A. So what I can do is before starting, all I have to do is go into looks, switch the costume to muffin A to begin with. Okay. So when the program starts, it resets and go back to the original muffin. Yep. Now, as soon as the mouse is touching the muffin, what happens? The muffin seems like it has been eaten up, and the mouse is saying yummy. Okay. Now, if you have done this program, we can move to the third part of the program, which is your cat. So we have programmed mouse, we have programmed muffin, and then we just missing a cat. So the cat is not doing anything yet, but we can program so that it will come into the action. Okay. Again, I'm going to try this. There you go. Okay. Let's start programming the cat. So we have done muffin, we have done mouse. The third part is your cat. So even in the cat, we need when flag is clicked, and then you do the rest of your program. So same way we program the mouse that we need to go to certain coordinates, which is X and Y. We need the same thing for the cat. So cat don't need to start over here, over here, over here. It has to start from a particular point. Okay. That means that cat has to start over here, which is exactly opposite from the mouse. Yeah, that is the exact opposite corner of the mouse. Now, to do that, we select the coordinates, which is minus 153, minus 120. So we go into motion, go to the go to X and Y, which is this. Then what do we do? We program it in the same manner we did it for mouse, but it cannot keep walking with the mouse pointer. It has to only start walking when the mouse is within the range of the cat. So for that, what we'll do is we'll choose if condition. Okay. If loop is what we have learned. So if something happens, your program activates. So if the mouse is within the range of the cat starts chasing the mouse. So to do this, you have to select operators. Now operators, you can see there are many different blocks. You can do mathematics, you can do uh, some different random conditions. You can do and or not. Those are the Boolean conditions. But for this program, we need to find out that if the mouse is within the range of the cat. So that means I need to use this block. What it means is, if something is less than 50, 50 means it could be 50 centimeters, whatever the coordinate says, is within 50 centimeters. If it is less than 50, which means if it is within the range of the cat, it starts. So the cat starts following the mouse. But if what is less than 50? So the question is, what is less than 50? So for that, we again go to sensing. If distance to the mouse pointer, but we don't need mouse pointer. So what do? We still select this block, put it over here inside the operator. Instead of mouse pointer, we go into mouse one. So that is your mouse. So distance, if distance to the mouse is less than 50, what do cat has to do? The cat has to start walking towards the mouse. So to do that, we go into motion, then we ask the cat to point towards mouse. So in mouse, we used to point towards mouse pointer because the mouse is moving wherever you want the mouse to move. But if you go into cat, if you want to program the cat, it has to point towards this mouse because the objective of this cat is to chase this mouse. Now, to do this, I have, so once I point towards the mouse, I have to start walking, which is move some amount of steps. So I will lower down the steps because I don't want my mouse to be chased by cat very quickly. So to do that, I will just select less number of steps. And then we need to follow the same approach. Point towards the mouse, move 10 steps. Instead of 10 steps, I have I have chose 4 steps. But there is a wait timer. Okay. Same way, we go into control, select the wait block. So we create some sort of time delay. So it keeps walking, chasing the mouse, but at the same time, I don't want my mouse to be caught by the cat very quickly. So I will select the wait time, which is 0.5 seconds, move 10 steps. But again, what we are missing, the essential part is forever. So if I want this program to run forever, I need forever loop. Otherwise, what will happen is it will only run once. And after that, if my mouse is within this range, it will still not chase the mouse. So to do this, what I will do is use forever loop and then move 4 steps. Let's see if it works. Okay. So as I have started the program and I'm taking my mouse towards the muffin. So muffin has been eaten up and I want my mouse to keep going. So it will land up within the area of cat. Once it comes very close towards the cat has to point towards the mouse and start following. Okay, so this program is not working. Let's find out what's wrong in there. Okay, so what we'll do is once it starts pointing towards the mouse, what it has to do is it has to move only 5 steps. Okay. Another thing I would like you to focus is when the distance is 50, which is very close. So what I will do is I will use 250. That means if it's within this range, I'm not sure how much is the distance within this range. So I have to do trial and error to find out the exact value. So to do this, what I will do is I will select different values. I will go with 200, maybe 250, and then I can find out, okay, the mouse is within the range of the cat. So let's start doing this again, okay? So see me? Oh, so that's 250 means it when when the mouse is over here, it is within the range of the cat. So now I have to ask my mouse to run in different direction so it can save itself from the cat. Yeah. As you can see, the cat is chasing the mouse. The closer it gets, the scarier it becomes. Okay. However, I have given the speed 4 or speed 5 for my cat. So even while chasing, if the cat is able to touch the mouse, nothing will happen because we haven't programmed anything for the cat touching the mouse, or we haven't programmed our mouse if it touches the cat, nothing will happen. So what can we do is we can add another loop, which is if loop. So since we have used so many if loop today in our lesson, I hope you guys are very clear about this loop. So if something happens, then and then only your program runs. So we again go into if loop, but this time let's go into sensing and then touching. If touching cat, it will say what what will it say? It will say instead of yummy, it will say, oh no. Yeah, sounds fun. We'll say it for 1 second or less than that. I can say 0.5 second. Just added one more block, which is if loop. If the mouse is touching cat, it will say, oh no. Yep. However, if I wanted to add the same block over here, what do I need to choose? I need to choose if if touching mouse because now we are talking about cat. So if the cat, which is over here, touching mouse, then it will say yummy. So this is just an example. If you want, you can add it or yeah, you can chuck it. Now let's try this program again, see if it works. So it resets. There you go. The cat is activated because the mouse was within the range, which is 250. Now it is saying yummy because it was touching muffin, but if it touches the cat, oh no, it says, oh no. Yeah. Okay. Another thing I want you to learn is the way we created the animation is by changing the costume for the mouse as well as for the muffin. Same way, if we want our cat to give the animation, to give the illusion that it's walking, what do? We program it to switch the costume each and every time. So before that, let's find out how many costumes the cat is having. Yeah. So I'm going to go into costume, but the cat is only having one costume. So even if we switch the costume, the cat is going to have the same sort of costume. So what do? There is a trick. So what I can do is I can copy this costume, but I can make some changes in this costume. So over here, this is your original costume. This is the costume where you can make some changes. So to do some changes, what I will do is I will change the direction of this costume. So to change the direction, I can simply rotate over here. So this is how, same way. So what I have done is I have changed the tail to be in the opposite direction. So when I switch the costume, it will give me an illusion that, okay, the cat is actually walking or there is some sort of animation because this two cat is different. One is on this side, one is on this side. Okay. So this was just to give you all an example of how we can design different costumes and how we can switch those costumes to create the effect of animation. So once we have created the new costume, which is cat 2 and cat 3, what we can do is go back into the coding area. Over here, we can again find out looks and next costume. Each and every time the forever and if loop repeats, it will switch to the next costume. Okay, let's see if it works. The mouse has started walking, it's going towards the muffin, saying yummy. Okay, now let's see if it goes within the range of cat. Yeah, there you go. You can see the costume of cat is making a sort of animation, which is the tail is moving in different direction. And when the mouse is touching the cat, it's saying, "Oh no." Yeah. So this was the whole idea of making a game, which is using the Scratch coding. Uh, Now what I will do is I will allow you guys to send me any questions or doubts you have, and I will answer you for next couple of minutes, and then we will wrap up this session. So if you have any questions with this program, or if you are stuck at any particular area, you can raise your hand. Yep. If you have any questions, post it under the comment section or raise your hand, type your questions, and I will, as soon as I will be able to answer you, I will answer your questions. Now, in the meantime, let's make it more funnier. So what I will do is, I would like you all to so if you still have any questions, feel free to answer. I'm just scrolling through some of the questions we have, and I'm gonna give them answer personally. And yep, keep keep typing your questions if you have any questions. Okay. Okay. I hope you guys are able to finish that program. If not, I can share it with you again. So that is how we program the cat. That is how we program the mouse. That is how we program the muffin. Now, if you were doing it with me during the tutorials, I'm pretty sure you guys have already finished the program and you also had enough time to change the values. So by changing the values, I mean, if you want your mouse to go faster, what you can do is decrease the number of seconds. You go faster. So even if the cat is chasing the mouse, it will still able to save itself from the cat. Okay. Okay. I hope you guys had fun doing this lesson with me, and feel free to add some new variables. You can use if loop, forever loop. You can use different value in the steps. You can use different messages. Instead of yummy, you can type your own message. Instead of oh no, you can type your own message. Feel free to add some costumes. And yes, that's it for now. I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was the lesson where we animate the scratch. And looking forward to see you in the next lesson. Um, yeah, so that's it from me. I'll see you next time. Thank you guys for joining me. Have a great day ahead. Thank you.